Dune, I didn't have final cut on. It's the only film I've made that I didn't have. I didn't technically have final cut on The Elephant Man, but Mel Brooks gave it to me. And on Dune, I started selling out even in the script phase, knowing I didn't have final cut, and I sold out. So it was a slow dying the death and a terrible, terrible experience.
Do you regret it?
Yes, except it just nailed this idea, never, ever do a film without final cut. And why would I have done it? I don't know how it happened. I trusted that it would work out, but it was very naive and the wrong move.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Hey, Alex, more like a beer is the mind killer. You know what I'm talking about?
Beer is
I drank a couple of alcoholic drinks last night, and my head hurts.
Yeah.
Not beer though, but it rhymed. I drank sake and White Claw.
I had a Mickey of Jameson last night. That one's for you, Bill.
Yep, a whole Mickey.
No, just over half, I think.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. So we're both drinking the pain away.
Yeah. I need some spice to pick me up.
Yeah.
The spice melange.
The spice melange. I could go for some spice melange right now. I could go for any melange of any kind.
True.
Yeah. I guess yeah. Spice would be the best. See, it seems like it gets them pretty high.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It gets you so high your eyes turn blue.
It gets you so high you can fold space.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. When you turn into the giant
guild navigator
slug creature, the stage 3 guild navigator.
Yeah. We have got a copy of Dune right here. Let's see. Let's open to a random page.
This is a big Dune house. I have a lot of copies of Dune all over the place.
Let's see here. This is a classic passage that I've just opened up to.
Lay it on me.
Paul lifted the paracompass from the pack, returned it, said, "Think of all these special application Fremen machines. They show unrivaled sophistication. Admit it, the culture that made these things betrays depths no one suspected." Classic.
Yeah.
That is truly one of the famous passages of Dune. Here's another one.
Powerful stuff, Frank Herbert.
Here's another. This is a classic Dune passage here.
A Duneism.
"Always," she said, and kissed his cheek. Classic. That and from the mind of Frank Herbert. Only a genius could come up with this. Let's see here.
Oh, here's one.
Yeah.
I went to college but dropped out of school quick. I've always had a PhD, a pretty huge dick. No, that was, of course, our friend Kanye West.
Oh, can we get much higher?
So high.
Well, I let me tell you. let me admit something to you that I've already told you. I had a long night last night.
Oh yeah.
And I was staying up late. I was watching movies, and then right around 2 a.m, when I thought it's time to go to bed, I decided no. I had a burst of energy. I had a surge, and I said I have to clean the apartment late at night. So I got the headphones out, and I also had a strange compulsion to listen to Kanye West. I'm not proud of this, but I listened to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. The whole album.
Yeah.
While I did the dishes, and I really liked it. I really liked listening to it.
A real monolith of an album.
Yeah.
It stands imposing in the last 20 years of musical history.
Yes, and like the monolith in 2001, it came down.
It also triggered evolution.
Yes.
Within you, within us.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I can say that I am a worse person for having listened to Kanye West. No, I don't know why I had to listen to it. It's so stupid. You think of it's like when you watch some dumb movie and you're like, think of all the other things I could be experiencing, or you read one of your Harlequin romance novels you love so much that litter the apartment.
You're talking specifically about me.
Yeah, instead of Children of or Dune Messiah or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, or like God Emperor of Dune. That's the one you hadn't read.
Newsflash, buddy.
Yeah.
God Emperor of Dune is an amazing Harlequin romance if you're into mega worm erotica.
This is what I get for not knowing what Dune is.
Yeah.
So you've actually read Dune.
I've read Dune,
Yeah?
Dune Messiah,
No way.
and Children of Dune.
3.
And then I kind of tapped out.
Right.
But maybe I'll get around to God Emperor of Dune. I showed you I have a cute, like, older copy of it.
Yeah, it looks great. It's like probably a first edition copy, right?
Maybe not first.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe not first.
Is that the only other Frank Herbert one, or how many more did he write?
That's a great question. I think there might be one more called Chapter House.
Chapter House?
Chapter House : Dune.
What?
Yeah, Chapter House. It's a weird name, but I think it's something within the the world. It's the Chapter House is the name of, I don't know, let's say a Bene Gesserit club or something like that.
That reminds me of one of my other favorite passages from Frank Herbert's Dune.
Yeah, hit me.
Mice, he hissed. Pop, hop, hop, they went into shadows and out. Classic passage of the mind you have to come up with all of this imagery.
It's a really good book.
It leaps off the page.
Actually,
I'm not making fun of it. I'm serious.
Me too. It leaps off the page like a little hopping mouse.
Hop, 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 hop. I'm the Duke's man. Anyway, okay, I'm going to stop looking at the Dune book and pulling out sentences out of context.
You brought a lovely copy, though. It's like big and old, and the pages
It's new. It's a new copy, but it looks like it's being eaten by mold.
Yeah, it's got some water damage in it.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Our brains
My
are
brother
slowly
got me that
being
copy.
eaten by the mold permeating from that book.
It's possible, yeah. Yeah, it's possible. Sorry, I didn't really think about that.
It's a good thing we're in this tight room.
And I always find something wrong.
You've been putting up with my
anyway, rest in peace. Kanye, he's dead now. He died today. So, like I said, we're banking episodes a little bit ahead, maybe.
Yeah.
Why not tell them? Let's be honest. You're going to listen to this in, I don't know, one of the first days of March. I'm predicting it. By the time this comes out, Kanye will die. Kanye will be dead. By his own hand? We don't know. Or crushed by a falling piano. We don't know.
He was eaten to death by a pack of vultures, which is strange because they didn't wait for him to be dead.
That's right.
They flocked him and they ate him.
They heard his new album.
Funny enough fact, we're recording this today on Twin Peaks Day.
What's the day he comes into Twin Peaks?
It's the day Dale Cooper arrives in Twin Peaks.
That is actually a fun fact.
Diane, it's February 24th, 11 whatever a.m. I'm entering the town of Twin Peaks.
That actually is fun.
Yeah.
You know what? A lot of the times when people will say, I've got a fun fact for you.
It's not fun.
No.
It's kind of oppressive.
Yeah, it is oppressive. It's showing off. Like, I know something you don't know. Do you know what I mean? I hate that.
Oh, is this a game of Trivial Pursuit, or were we having a conversation?
Yeah.
Alex Trebek.
Yeah, right? Yeah, you old dead bitch. Yeah. We have to stop.
Disparaging the dead.
Yeah, exactly. Because as I found out late last night, staying up past the witching hour, their ghosts haunt us.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're real.
They're real.
They're here.
Yeah. The ghost of Trebek and the ghost of Kanye West are hanging out in the afterlife, and they both haunted me.
And they have a pact with the aliens.
Mm-hmm.
They're in cahoots.
Yeah, I got to tell some unsuspecting friends about the aliens, and they looked at me with concern. But don't worry, it's just a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's just a bit.
It's just a bit. Can you see? I know this is a audio, but can you see what I'm doing when I say it's just a bit?
I'll give you a hint. It
Yeah.
rhymes with stink.
Yeah, that's right. Little wink. And you stick your tongue out like
Yeah.
the emoji.
Very kawaii of you.
I'm just joking. Winky. That's my new persona.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm into
That's
it.
my new voice.
Yeah.
This is my new Al Pacino impression.
Yeah.
I'm a little stinker. Yeah. All right. Let's I watched one movie like after we recorded the Scorsese Color Money stuff.
Yeah.
I can't believe I watched it.
It's been a slow week for me.
Then I watched a bunch of movies yesterday.
Just yesterday.
all last night.
Crazy.
And I will tell you about Why don't you go first, though?
Okay.
See anything interesting?
Yeah, I finished The Whale.
Yeah. So I saw that you logged it on Letterboxd.
Yeah. The WZA, the WZA.
And I am Benjamin _Turnbull, my full legal name, which is good, right? It's good. That's good that's there. I see that you gave it an interesting star rating.
2
out of 5.
Yes.
So I'd like you to explain that. Now
Well,
I'm not the star police. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not.
You famously think
Ziggy Stardust.
stars and ratings are arbitrary.
I do think they're arbitrary.
Yeah, and I disagree vehemently.
Okay, so in that case, justify your star ranking.
Okay, I will, jerk.
You're calling me a jerk?
In my review, you could clearly tell that I'm not a huge fan of the movie.
Yes.
And I don't mention it, but what elevated it to 2 stars from 1,
What could have possibly
less, is you yourself and your theory that the movie is a meta text of the students in Charlie's class, because the whole movie is about bad writing. So it itself should be written poorly in
no.
the search of an honest truth.
No, Alex.
2 stars.
No.
2 stars, and some of the special food effects were funny. Like, it really looked like he was pouring jam onto
He
that.
was pouring jam onto the food, wasn't he?
Potato
Are you
chip
saying
sandwich.
Are you saying it's CG? All the food. So yeah, so he's in a fat suit, and then obviously they CG the seams a little bit, right? And then of course all the food is CG.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to eat. Yeah.
It was like crazy bad and kind of enjoyable on an ironic level.
It's insane.
Like-
it's every year there's like kind of one movie that feels like once in a lifetime bad.
Yeah.
And it's like that movie has like no redeeming qualities.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I have to question the 2 star out of 5.
And it's crazy
So
that
sorry.
it's an Academy Award winning film too. Like,
Yes.
it's just
His because and as I said in my review, I think at the time, people would say, "Oh well, I'm happy for Brandon, or I like Brandon, and so on and so forth."
Yeah.
I'm happy for him too. I buy into the the narrative, which I think
comeback.
won him the Oscar more
Yeah.
than the performance. But I think the performance is bad. I think he's bad in that movie.
I think he's kind of set up to fail.
Yeah.
But it's wild to me because then I had to obviously watch the second part of it to finish it, and it came to the ending, which you had described as like this. It's meant to be cathartic. It like the tears start flowing and stuff, and it was just absolutely crazy to me.
He flies away to heaven
Because it was none of the like big emotional payoff, like monologuing moments were earned, really. You don't feel bad for this guy because he was a father who ran out on his family or anything. Like, you feel bad about him because he's a big fat man,
Yeah.
and then he's sad at the end, so you're just sitting there like you're meant to be
He's
crying.
He's annoying.
His daughter is annoying.
His daughter is awful.
She
I know.
is
I know.
terrible.
I know. Yeah.
Not the
God.
Mormon, whatever he is, the religious,
Jehovah's Witness guy or
so
whatever.
fucking lame.
Awful.
Han Chow
Awful.
is okay.
She's fine.
She's okay.
She's fine. Yeah.
But no, this movie doesn't make me be
It's
like,
so
she's
bad.
amazing. Yeah.
Samantha
Samantha Morton is okay too.
perfectly fine. He's just an awful, obnoxious piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, and him putting up with his shitty daughter. It's just
Yeah.
like, dude, like you don't have to do that. And he's like, oh, I like your writing. Oh,
You're so amazing.
You're so, yeah. He's like always choking back tears. And he's like, I fucking love you so much.
You're an incredible person. Don't you see that?
Oh, I'm big and fat like a whale. That's the best line is when he goes,
I'm a whale.
He does
whale sound. That part was kind of beautiful.
That was beautiful. Yeah, the dream, right? Okay, so I don't know if you've seen The Whale, but there's an extended, very trippy dream sequence, sort of like the creation sequence in Aronofsky's Noah, which is a much better movie. If you want to trip balls and watch that.
His filmography is so crazy.
He is such a hack. He is a mega hack. I love him. I saw Mother at TIFF at the festival.
Same.
Yeah. Was he there for your screening?
No.
He was there, baby. He was wearing the longest scarf I've ever seen someone wear. It was like he had attendants like holding it as he came out. Like
the God Emperor of Dune.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really funny.
I don't know if I've probably told this already on the story, but we were in line and they were handed out basically like a promotional card for the movie.
Barf bags.
That was that was called The Mother's Prayer, and it was an adaptation of the Lord's Prayer, but like feminized, I guess.
Interesting.
And I was like, gee, I wonder if this movie is about religion.
Yeah.
Anyway, he comes out at the end. He introduced it, and he came out at the end, and he was like after like a couple minutes of chit chat or this or that, like as if he felt a lack of confidence in the work or in the audience or both. He was like, yeah, so basically it's like the Bible. And he was like, and this is like this, and this is like this, and these stories are like this. And I was sitting there and just like, Darren, like, come on, man. Like,
that's because I saw it at TIFF, and I went in a blank slate. I didn't know anything about it. And I kind of enjoyed it, the way it kind of ramps up, and it kind of induced a bit of anxiety in me when people started showing up to the house and they couldn't like control them anymore.
I actually wouldn't mind watching it again. It's an interesting movie.
But then
it's not The Whale.
No.
It's better than The Whale.
But then I remember him like going, online and spoiling it, essentially just talking about what it means, like breaking it down, like and it's just you didn't have to do that. Like it gets pretty on the nose once she has like a baby and Kristen Wiig shows up and stuff like that.
Yes.
So you didn't have to give it all away, but he did, and then I was like, kind of just cheapens it. Let it be like a mysterious, enigmatic movie.
But it's not, because he's not a subtle filmmaker.
That's true.
It can't be. He's not possible. With the exception of Noah, which is simultaneously
the Fountain.
Maximalist. I actually really like The Fountain.
Yeah,
I'd like to watch The Fountain again. I think that may be his best movie.
Wow.
Yeah. I also really want to watch Requiem for a Dream again.
Ass to ass.
Yeah. What I mean to say is I want to watch more than just the one scene from Requiem for a Dream again. Yeah. So anyway, sorry. In The Whale, there's a kind of a Noah trippy scene where he sleeps and has a dream where he's a giant humpback whale.
Yeah, and he's finally free.
Yeah, he's free. He's huge, he's fat, he's full of blubber and so on, but he's floating gracefully, in the sea. As whales do, and he's singing a mournful whale song, and it's beautiful.
You're thinking of Fantasia 2000.
Oh yeah,
with the flying whales.
With Brendan Fraser. Yeah, oh shit, I'm such an idiot. That's crazy. Okay, sorry, you're right. The Whale doesn't have anything like that.
Yeah,
that's good.
But it is kind of funny.
And, I mean, it's funny. It's funny. One of the funniest movie-going experiences, as I have certainly mentioned a number of times, is when it ended. I'm looking around like, get a load of this piece of shit, and everybody is sobbing.
They're just crying because he's a sad, like, fat guy.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah,
it's an ill-conceived movie.
I think if The Whale makes you have feelings, like if it touches you emotionally, you're a bad person.
Yeah.
You're
that's
fat.
What I'm trying to say. Yeah, I'm glad you said it, but that's what I'm getting. I
am a fat man, and if you like The Whale, you don't like me. You hate me and my kind.
My kind.
My fat. My
brothers.
My fat brothers and sisters. Okay, fuck you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to get so heated so early.
No,
on
it's
in
okay.
The show. But like genuinely, if you like The Whale, you are a bad person.
I'm a good person because I hate The Whale.
Yeah, but not enough. You don't hate it enough.
You're the one who convinced me about the metatextual bad writing element. Yeah, you did
Don't pin this on me. That's fat shaming, victim blaming behavior.
Oh, fuck.
Alex. Anyway.
People are amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
Last night,
Yeah.
I watched. I accompanied a friend of the pod, Austin, to TIFF to see Nostalgia by Andrei Tarkovsky.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Nostalgia.
Because there's an H in there.
Yeah.
Nostalgia. That's how Tarkovsky would have said it on his Italian sojourn.
Very disappointing because I thought I was seeing the new Gendy Tarkovsky film, the animator behind Dexter's Lab and the Hotel Transylvania. Man Dark.
Oh, well, I apologize. I didn't mean to mislead you. I was telling you it was good. The other week,
No, I watched it and I was like, damn, there's so much beautiful imagery in this.
Oh, yeah.
And it is one of the most impenetrable movies I've ever seen.
It's. I would say. I guess I've seen all his movies except for his last movie, The Sacrifice. So we should definitely watch that and then do a Tarkovsky tier list.
So I've only seen...
We'll explore Paul Schrader's The Tarkovsky Ring. You want to talk about impenetrable?
He loves Tarkovsky, right?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
But
I would say Mir is probably the most difficult.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I've only watched...
Nostalgia, is like kind of like a greatest hits.
I've only watched his mainstream, quote-unquote mainstream films, Solaris, Stalker, and Andrei Rublev.
Right.
Which is a masterpiece. I think more people should watch Andrei Rublev.
I do really like Andrei Rublev. I like it a lot.
I think
like
it's
to
phenomenal.
See that again too.
Yeah. So I was watching this and I was like, I just don't know enough about Tarkovsky to be like, it's so rich. The symbolism, it's his life in exile when he left the Soviet Union and stuff.
Yeah.
There were things, again, visually one of the most beautiful films. And then there were parts that did strike a chord with me, like when he's just like in a dilapidated house that's slowly filling with water.
Oh, yeah.
Tarkovsky loves water.
One of the wettest directors, yeah.
Yeah, and he's just getting like drunk, crying over, Mother Russia and stuff like that. And he has like a line where he talks about like how he just loves being in like the worst kind of places. That's where he feels at home, in like holes in the ground and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot to like. And even like after leaving the movie and just reading the Wikipedia page, I found that like so helpful, Yeah.
Sometimes you got to read the Wikipedia page right after.
It is a movie that I feel like if I had just watched it in a vacuum and left it in a vacuum, I would just be scratching my head about it and like feeling mixed emotions.
Listeners,
but
let me give you some advice. You shouldn't do that. There's nothing wrong with adding context to a film. In fact, I would suggest that every time, whether that's as simple as reading the Wikipedia page after, or just talking about it with somebody, or reading reviews, reading articles about it, like
going to the archives. Poring over manuscript and manuscript.
Yeah. Traveling, inventing time travel to go back in time to have lunch with Andrei Tarkovsky and ask him some questions. Yeah.
If he were bald,
what's your dick game like?
He would look like my dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is upsetting.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's okay. But yeah.
I saw your Uncle Vanya, by the way.
Yes. Okay.
I'll tell you about that.
Okay,
I'll tell you about that later.
Yeah. I don't have much more to say, but it like made me oddly enough like I want to see the Tarkovsky films I haven't seen. I really want to see The Mirror.
Yeah, I'd love to watch that with you.
It made me want to go back and watch Solaris, Stalker, and Andrei Rublev, especially Andrei. I love Andrei Rublev.
I think so. Stalker I've seen a couple times. Solaris I've seen twice. Andrei Rublev and Nostalgia I've just seen once each. Whenever the TIFF last did their big retrospective, I don't know if that was 2016 or 17 or something, but Andrei Rublev was on film, which was pretty cool. But
cool.
I'd like to see the proper kind of nice Blu-ray of it, right? I'd love to revisit those and Ivan's Childhood, I guess I saw maybe the most recently. That's a really beautiful movie as well. Yeah, it's really good.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I remember I think I was just watching a lot of them together, and so when I saw Nostalgia, there's also a documentary he made that's hang on, let me look this up. It's called Voyage in Time, that he directed with Tonino Guerra, who's the Italian guy who he wrote Nostalgia with, which is just an hour of them preparing to make the movie, and I think that gives a lot of good context as well. If not like not necessarily the like symbols used in the film, just his sort of mindset, like in isolation, not in isolation, you know what I mean, in exile. Yeah. That is also where the famous shot of him, holding his head like this, and he says something like cinematic poetry. What does he say again? You know what I mean? Like,
I've seen the clip.
Poetic cinema. Yeah. It's very good hour-long doc that everyone should check out as well.
Cool.
But yeah, like talking about those two movies, like Solaris, the last shot of Solaris, right, where he's like he's in his homestead, and then you zoom out, and it's he's still on Solaris, right? And then similarly in Nostalgia.
Amazing
right?
final shot.
Yeah, crazy,
Sublime
right?
final. I don't know how they did it.
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Like it's like looking at an optical illusion.
Yeah.
Where again he's like, he's sitting there in his nice Russian homestead or whatever with his dog, in a pool, and it zooms out and he's in the Italian church or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's snowing and it's like,
it's crazy.
yeah, it's insane. I have no, I don't know how, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with Stalker. Like I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, how did they make this? Like, how does everything look so like
sandy?
It's like from a different planet. You know what I mean? Despite not having lavish Dune-esque production visuals, right? It feels genuinely, alien.
Yeah.
And Solaris to some extent as well. Solaris has some of the kind of more, I guess because it's like more explicitly sci-fi. It has maybe some more like somewhat like dated. I hate to use that word because it's a wonderful movie, but like some of the, I don't know, 60s kind of, space agey kind of aesthetics or whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
Every man is an island, literally, on Solaris.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Solaris sounds pretty cool. Why not? Give into it. What's wrong with that?
I'd live on Solaris.
I watched Soderbergh Solaris, right? I'm pretty sure it ends with him being like, "This isn't so bad." I don't really remember.
The moral of the story of Solaris is that, just give in to Solaris.
Just relax.
Yeah, chill out, man.
Just relax. I'm pretty sure that's what he meant. Yeah. I think he meant just like, what are you going to do? Go back to Earth? Not likely.
Be comfy.
Yeah, just have sex with your hot dead wife.
Be comfy, idiot.
Yeah. One more thing about Nostalgia is when he's carrying that fucking candle. You know what I mean? That's one of those, because man, it's like a sold out screening, right? So like it was in Cinema One, so it's packed, and it's like that's one of the biggest theaters in this downtown Toronto, I think. You could hear a pin drop. Like it was everyone was just like holding their breath, so great. It's just so simple, right? Pure cinema. Mwah.
The woman
Poetic cinema.
sitting beside me was falling asleep.
Yeah.
Poetic cinema.
Well, we're going to go to TIFF, back to TIFF. You were there last night. We're going back.
What have I done?
We're going back. We're going to go see Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors by Sergei Parajanov. I don't know.
I don't know anything about it.
Oh, that's great. It's Color Pomegranates guy, eh?
Okay.
Yeah. It's his first kind of major work before Color Pomegranates. And I'm very excited to see it. All right. You watch anything else?
No, that was about it. Dune, 1984's Dune.
Oh, we're going to get to that probably at the end of the episode.
For 15 minutes.
Yeah,
15 cool minutes.
15 to 30 minutes of Dune. And then another half hour of talking about David Lynch.
Yeah.
Well, I did see your Uncle Vanya on stage.
So Ben went to go see the play, the production of Uncle Vanya. And I, believe it or not, have an uncle named Vanya. Fucking crazy.
What's he like? Do you know anything about Uncle Vanya?
Yeah, he was a sailor
No, the play.
Oh, the play.
Yeah.
You said, what's he like?
No, I know, but you're right. That is confusing. What's your Uncle Vanya like?
He's a sailor.
Is he
was
like
a
Uncle
sailor.
Vanya the play?
I don't know, because Uncle Vanya is one of the Chekhov plays I'm probably least familiar with.
Interesting.
What I'm most familiar with is The Cherry Orchard.
Interesting. I'm not familiar with any of them,
Hmm.
but now I'm an Uncle Vanya expert.
Nice.
I feel a lot like Uncle Vanya.
Okay.
In that I'm a loser.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. He's got it way worse than I do.
Oh.
It was very good.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't go out to see plays as often as I should. Something I think I forget about. Well, if I ever go back to New York, which I'm planning to hopefully soon, I would like to go see a Broadway play. But the thing that I always forget, here as well with the Mervish plays, right? That's the family that runs the cabal of theaters. The only ads you see are for the dumb shit musical theater, and I know there's a lot of good musical theater. I know people like musical theater. I like some musical theater, but I really don't. I just really have no interest in seeing 99% of those shows.
Yeah.
Like your Dear Evan Hansen's and your whatever, the Juliet.
Six is the
one
Six,
now. Yeah. It just seems, it's just corny. It's tacky and it's corny, and I don't care. That said, I would see Les Mis, which is extremely tacky and corny, but I do like that one, as does Donald Trump. Or his favorite is Phantom of the Opera, which is very funny. Yeah. But I always forget that there are actual honest to goodness plays, not musicals, that are put on every year, and it is so worth it. It was really good. It was a great production. The dad from Corner Gas was one of the actors.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. Canadian stage legend and screen.
Yeah.
Eric Peterson, I think his name is. Jordan Peterson was Uncle Vanya, his son. I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Is it tragic?
Yeah, I would say yes, it is. I would say it is very
Sounds like Chekhov.
melancholy.
Yeah.
I would say this production, I think the famous ending, which you may be familiar with if you've seen Drive My Car and other movies, it's often used as a reference point, right? Where Sonia is telling Uncle Vanya, we're gonna make it. We're gonna work hard. We're gonna put one foot in front of the other, and then when we die, we'll go to heaven and we'll be loved. And we'll be at peace. Mm-hmm. In this adaptation, they had the sound effects build up and then cut out as it cut to black. That kind of way that you see a lot in film, right?
Yeah, The Whale.
Yeah, sure, just like The Whale, which is a play. Crazy. Yeah. Can you imagine seeing that play? Can you imagine going to that play and being like,
when Mervish puts it on,
oh my God,
we're going.
It's so funny. Yeah, I would love to. I would star in it. I would star in it for free. Okay. But you pay me in pizza and jelly.
Jelly sandwiches.
Yeah, jelly sandwiches. Anyway, yeah, that ending I think definitely seemed to add to a kind of a kind of melancholy, somewhat ambiguous note as well.
Okay, cool.
It's good. It made me sad, but it's theater is great. I guess I got back from that, and I was thinking, I should watch Vanya on 42nd Street, which is I guess it's a Louis Malle movie with Wallace Shawn, Andre Gregory, Julianne Moore, and but I couldn't find it online, and I have a copy now, but it took too long. And then I was like, you know what? I should watch the Wallace Shawn and Andre Gregory's like other Louis Malle movie they made, My Dinner with Andre.
Classic.
So I actually watched. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually finally watched it.
Yeah.
Tell me more. I kept thinking about that.
I haven't watched it since university.
Yeah, it's a real dorm room classic.
I think we had to watch it in class.
Oh, nice, interesting. Yeah. I genuinely could see some theater kid being like, hey, come over to my dorm room. I'm gonna blow your mind. And then he's passed around a joint watching My Dinner with Andre. It was not what I expected. I enjoyed it. It's very funny. It's intriguing. Andre Gregory seems like a bad person to have dinner with. He's just yak.
Yeah. Enjoy the food.
Wallace Shawn is just sitting there being polite.
Yeah. In many ways, we are the Wallace Shawn and Andre Gregory of our time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Who? So I'm Andre Gregory because I'm yakking all the time?
No, not
And you're Wallace Shawn because you starred in Woody Allen's movie Rifkin's Festival?
Because I was Rex in Toy Story.
Yeah.
And, of course, Inconceivable Guy in the Inconceivable movie.
In the Inconceivable. He does say the word inconceivable at one point in My Dinner with Andre.
Delicious.
Yeah. Anyway, then a bunch of stuff happened. I had my week, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yesterday, I have a day off. And what do? I go to buy a CPAP machine so that I can breathe properly while I sleep.
Priorities.
It turns out I have to book an appointment there first.
Oh,
I can't just walk in and get it, even though I have a prescription. Unfortunately, this week, I am not working nights. So when I'm working during the day and the clinic is closed.
Oh.
So I'm going to have to wait another week before I can finally sleep. I'm feeling like a certain Alfredo Pacino in a film Insomnia, which I will bring up in a second. But anyway, I was like, all right, whatever. And I went, this clinic was by Yonge and Dundas. I walked to Yonge and Dundas. And I went to a little theater there, the Cineplex, and I saw Madam Web.
Oh, I want to see that.
Yes.
I've heard it's so bad it's good.
Well, what does that mean, Alex? You know,
that it's funny.
What does so bad it's good mean?
Was it funny?
And what is film, Alex?
Just answer me. Was it funny? Well, did it make you laugh?
Her web connects them all.
Beautiful.
Haven't you heard that?
That's a great metaphor.
Didn't you see the front page of the New York Times the other day? Her web connects them all. Was it funny? Yeah. Like, no, I mean, well, yeah, no, it's funny. But is it worth paying your money to go see?
Depends how funny.
It's not about having laughs at the expense of a bad movie. Because there's so many better movies you could do that for. To see Madam Web is to capture a feeling. It is similar to nostalgia.
It?
Yeah. In the way that Tarkovsky has nostalgia for his for his homeland in exile, I have nostalgia for the mid 2000s and the films that they produced. The kind of original wave of superhero movies that we enjoyed when we were younger, the X-Men's and the Spider-Men's and the Daredevils and Electras and so on.
And the Nolan Batman.
And the Nolan Batman, but
maybe those are a bit later.
Well, no, but that was near the end of the greatest decade, the 2000s. But movies where they seem embarrassed to be making a superhero movie, right? And friend of the pod, Emma, is advancing this theory in working on a PhD in Madam Web Webatronics or Madam Web theory. It's important to note that it is extremely impressive the degree to which no one seems to be caring in the movie.
That's cool.
Now, I should say that Adam Scott is in it as Uncle Ben.
We love Adam Scott.
We love Adam Scott, and he is genuinely trying his best. He's obviously showing up and like putting in work, and it's a pretty small role.
Consummate professional.
Very professional. The young kids in it, including Sydney Sweeney and then two other young kids.
Crazy that they're supposed to be like young kids.
I know.
Like they
have Sydney Sweeney all dressed up like a schoolgirl or whatever, and it's like, okay now, and it's like, okay, like we know she's like 26 or whatever.
Yeah.
Although they're not going to be able to make Euphoria season 3, are they?
Well,
unless it goes into the future.
I had a laugh because I read something about how Madam Web is supposed to be like significantly older than like her young students or whatever. I don't know.
She's in her. She is, isn't she?
But they all look the same age in like the promotional stuff in the trailer. Like I was like, oh, they're all just friends.
Yeah.
But she's like meant to be like an adult figure.
Well, it's
a supportive adult figure.
So yeah, you're right. So just in terms of like how it is made, how it is constructed, filming, editing, lighting, visual effects, it is extremely slapdash. The thing that sticks out the most is the ADR. It is some of the worst, most obvious ADR, ever. The bad guy seems like all of his lines are ADR'd. And it's like in the booth, they were like, we just need to get them real clear. So he's like speaking, he's like enunciating he's like, they are going to kill me. Like he doesn't really sound like that, right?
Yeah.
He has an accent as well, but it's very much like, it's like, I have seen a vision of the future and I need to kill these girls. Like
That's
you know what I mean? Like kind of like dubbed like kung fu movies from the 70s or whatever. And he sounds like Xavier Renegade Angel a little bit. Do you know that?
No.
You would really like that show. That show has Alex written all over it.
Xavier Renegade Angel?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna like that.
Hello? 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 Who's this? Who's this? I'm asking the questions. I called you. No, I called you, and you sound like the ugliest son of a bitch I ever heard. You sound like the physical manifestation of some loser's inner demons. Well, you sound like some total chode's inability to confront the reality of his past actions. If I ever get your stinky mug in my line of sight, I swear to Chekhov, I'll cock your clock off. Well, I'm going to be the bigger man and hang up first. Damn it.
Okay, but the key, the by far the best part about Madame Web is Dakota Johnson.
Okay.
Her performance is stunning.
Yeah.
She is in number one on the list, I think, for the 2024 Oscars, because she gives a real movie star performance. And by
good.
movie star, I mean, Nepo baby. She's been in good movies. She's given good performances. She's not untalented, but she's so checked out. She is always thinking, "What's for lunch?" or like, my feet hurt. Or she's always she's the movie opens up and she's paramedic. She's driving her ambulance and it's like a hectic scene through rush hour New York, and she's just, the look in her face is just like la-di-da-di-da. It's like when they go into Homer's brain and there's like little cartoon animals doing
the black and white.
Or like the donkey sitting there, flies buzzing around it. She has a vacant look in her eyes that is like, that I find extremely impressive. And it's also one of those movies where, like superhero origin movies where it's like at the end they become the superhero and the whole movie is just like them as a regular person, like, and all the different things that happen to them to get them to the point where they're like actually the superhero.
Yeah.
It's one of those. And by the end, when she's in the Madame Web costume and all the other girls are in their like cool, like spider costumes, you're like, why didn't we get to see that? Like why didn't you get to make that movie?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That looked cool. And it's also an extended ad for Pepsi as well.
Oh.
Like there's a conspicuous scene where she's drinking a Pepsi. It's very funny.
That is funny.
But at the end, there's a giant climactic fight on a huge Pepsi Cola sign, and like the sign keeps falling off, and the giant. This is a spoiler, okay? Can I spoil what happens to the villain? Would you rather not?
Sure. No, why not?
It's okay.
Incoming spoiler warning for Madame Web.
The giant pea from the Pepsi falls and crushes him.
Kills the villain. Amazing. That is very funny.
Yeah, Pepsi.
Yeah, I don't know why they feel the need to like do origin stories, because they're already like scraping the bottom of the barrel for niche superheroes to make new movies out of, especially Sony, because Sony doesn't have access to like the Marvel. They only get like the Spider-Man offshoots, so it gets even more niche. Well, it's like, we don't need an origin story for Madame Web. Who is Madame Web?
Yeah. Well, I remember Madame Web from the
Really?
Spider-Man 90s cartoon, I believe, or maybe the comics. I don't know. But no, this is what my friend Emma was saying, is that sometimes a movie just needs to exist to keep hold of the rights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
And in that sense, like, it explains why everyone is so checked out.
Yeah.
I mean, oh God. It really is like astonishing, like some of the just the way the film is like constructed, like, you go back and you think like Sergei Eisenstein, like putting together the great works of Soviet montage. Then then it's like the crusty thing. Then nothing happened for a long time.
Yeah.
And now Madame Web. Anyway, her web connects them all. Like it's true. I can't deny it. And the movie connected with me, the audience.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. 10 out of 10. Let me see here. One Crazy Summer. It's cute. You should watch it. It's cute.
John Crazy
Cusack.
Summer?
Yeah, you ever see that?
No.
John Cusack, Savage Steve Holland. They made Better Off Dead. That was their first movie. I haven't seen that one. I really should, because I think that's the better one. But One Crazy Summer's funny. Bobcat Goldthwait, when he's still doing the voice. Speaking of the Benny Gesserit voice. I can't do it.
He's using the voice. It's Bobcat
use the voice.
Goldthwait.
My friend Zach and I used to do this dumb bit where it was like Buddy Holly, the Weezer song.
Yeah.
Ooh wee ooh, I look just like Buddy Holly. Or no, I sound just like Bobcat Goldthwait. And you're Mary Tyler Moore. Something like that.
That's good.
Yeah, it needs some work.
Yeah.
Dune, we'll get to Dune. You, Me, and Dupree.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, it was, I was hitting the bottle last night, the sake bottle, and I thought I would throw on something I knew was going to be really bad, and it was. It's very bad.
Yeah.
It's very bad.
It's got one of the, I don't even think I've seen the whole thing, but it has one of the best bad movie titles of all time. Like, if you need
it's one of the best
punchline movie title, what was he watching? You, Me, and Dupree is.
Yeah.
I think it's because of Dupree.
Oh yeah. Dupree. You, me. You know exactly when you look at the poster.
Who Dupree is.
Maybe we've done this already, but you look at that poster and you think, all right, here's you and here's me. And this one is definitely Dupree.
You
here.
see Dupree.
Yeah, for a fact
He's
that's
troublemaker,
Dupree.
yeah.
He's a menace.
Yeah.
And the Russo brothers who made this movie, who went on to great success many years later
With Avengers?
with the Avengers movies.
Incredible.
They should be executed publicly.
Yeah.
For their crimes against humanity. Awful filmmakers.
Completely agree.
Awful. I mean, it really is not funny.
They should be suffocated slowly in a public square.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Everybody should come up and get 30 seconds with their hands around their throat.
And just slowly suffocate them to death. Or they have to force feed themselves to death, like Brendan Fraser tries to do in The Whale.
Yes. Darren Aronofsky should suffer a similar fate, depending on whether his next movie is good or not.
Yeah.
We'll give him one more chance. We've given him a lot of chances.
It
we'll give him one more
hinges
chance.
entirely on that.
But yeah, You Mean Dupree, I wanted to recapture the mid-2000s Madame Web feeling.
Sounds like it, yeah.
And it was a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a mistake. Like little Seth Rogen, little Bill Hader, tiny roles, It's like, it's just really bottom of the barrel stuff. It's very bad, yeah. There's a scene where... so Dupree is a menace, right? And there's a scene where they're sleeping and they wake up and he's masturbating over them, and he's going, yeah, it's you and me and Dupree, baby. That's it. You, me, and he's talking in the third person, right?
Yeah.
You, me, and Dupree forever.
Yeah.
It's just the three of us. You, me, and Dupree.
Matt Dillon wakes up. Dupree, what are you doing?
Dupree. Yeah, and Kate Hudson goes, oh my God, Dupree. Yeah, and then when they're both awake, he releases his seed.
Busts. Dupree busts.
And it goes all over them. It's awful.
Matt Dillon just covered in Dupree's seed.
Yeah, both of them. It's extremely crass. This is a PG-13 movie as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a very dark. It's like kind of German expressionist kind of shot, like with the hard angles on his face. He's it's awful. It's awful stuff. It's very triggering. I found it. That happened to me at camp, So,
did you ever watch that other 2000s relic, Boat Trip with Cuba Gooding Jr.?
No.
Spoilers.
Incoming spoiler alert for Boat Trip.
There is a scene where he's he's on a boat trip pretending to be gay but he's in love with a woman who's also working on the boat or something.
Right.
But it's like a gay cruise. I think that's the plot of Boat Trip.
Classy
But there's
stuff.
a scene where he's so backed up and so horny for this woman that he like fucks a vent in the wall, and then like a man on another level of the ship hears it like through the ventilation system, and he kind of sticks his head in a vent to see what's going on, and he pulls his head out, and he's covered in Cuba Gooding Jr.'s spunk.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. Best
Not
part
just
of
made
Boat
up
Trip.
like what I did.
No, real.
Oh no.
Yeah, DUPREE. That was a real DUPREE move.
That is such a you, me, and DUPREE kind of thing to do to somebody.
To fuck a vent.
Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
You ever fuck a vent, Ben?
No, it doesn't make sense. How does one do that?
You just need a little bit of gumption.
No, I don't understand. You know what? I have to see the movie to see what the vent looks
The
like.
logistics.
Then
yeah.
I'll tell you whether or not I have sex with it.
It was an oddly vaginal vent.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume so.
Yeah.
It's not like an angled, like sharp metal vent.
Looking
You're
at-
looking at we both our eyes drift upwards to Alex's vent. Damn, it's looking pretty good right
That's
about
looking
now.
like a
Yeah,
smack.
Yeah, looking like a Lunchable. Somebody said that to me once. Yeah,
Looking like a Lunchable?
yeah,
I like it.
I like that a lot.
It's cute.
Yeah, I
Depends
thought-
on which Lunchable.
Probably the pizza one. That one was good. Not the little nuggets. Those are gross.
Or the little make-your-own sandwiches. Baby
Those
charcuterie.
are kind of cute, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, Hackers. Did you ever see Hackers?
No.
Angelina Jolie, Johnny Lee Miller. Johnny Lee Miller does the worst American. It's a similar thing to Madam Web. Where he's talking like this the entire. He's like, I am
cool.
from America. Yeah, like I am pleased to meet you. I am a hacker from America.
I kicked my heroin addiction and now I speak like this.
Yeah, he's like, I met my wife Angelina Jolie on this film. They were married. It's
true, yeah.
And you can when they're like going at it, you're like, damn, like I could see the passion here, just as you can see the passion of her and Billy Bob Thornton later on.
Yeah, unsimulated.
And then, at this point, it was I'm staying up. I'm just staying up. I'm listening to Kanye. I'm doing my dishes. I want to watch one more
Hackers
movie
good?
before. Yeah, it is good.
Okay.
It's actually it's very good for what it is.
Great.
Yeah, it's a fever dream.
Oh,
I don't
cool.
really remember a lot about it.
Right.
But it was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I was tired and I thought, it'd be funny at 5 a.m. now. I should watch Insomnia.
Yeah.
I've been saying I wanted to see it again. And I watched it. I don't like it.
Okay.
I do not like it. I think it's mid, to use the phrase.
I think I liked it for the reasons you probably found it mid. Like I found it comforting just to watch like a well-made police procedural with a bit of this kind of, Insomnia, Midnight Sun twist.
Yeah.
Cool setting.
I just wanted more Insomnia. Because, we were joking like, oh, I'm so tired.
Yeah, he only says that a couple times.
In fact, he doesn't really say it the way I wanted him to. He looks really tired.
Yeah.
I don't think he gives a very good performance, honestly. I think he looks tired.
Robin Williams is way better.
No, Robin Williams gives a bad performance.
No way.
Yeah, I think he's bad in it.
No, he's fun in like you can tell he had a lot of fun playing the role.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily translate to me having fun watching it.
Okay, fine.
I do like when he's like, I'm twisted,
Yeah.
like in 1 Hour Photo and like other things like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, something with this one, Pacino looks tired, but he always sort of looks tired, right? So is it that impressive?
Yeah, he crossed the Rubicon into constantly looking kind of tired.
As in many like Pacino performances, I think if you gave a running commentary on what he was doing at any given moment, it would be good. Like where he's like, I can't sleep. I gotta chew gum to sleep. I gotta stay awake, chewing gum.
Yeah.
And he has that giant wad of gum in his mouth. That's a
Yeah.
beautiful image. Or when he shoots his partner, he's like, oh, I didn't mean to shoot you. He actually does a little bit of that where he's, and that scene is kind of affecting because Martin Donovan's like, why did you shoot?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? And he's like, I couldn't see. It's so foggy. Oh, I'm tired. Listen, I'm tired.
And
We
then-
all know I'm tired. But this fog now, I can't see shit in this fog.
Yeah.
And
then Robin Williams with his like, you shot your partner, didn't you? You didn't want to do that, but you did. Like, yeah, it's a
and
fun
he's like,
movie.
I'm going to chase you across these logs. Oh, I slipped in.
Yeah.
Oh, the log driver's waltz. You ever see that? The log
Old
driver's
Canadian cartoon.
Canadian classic.
It's
It's
fun.
true. You can't slip between the logs. It's a huge mistake.
Oh.
I would never want to go across those logs. It's super dangerous.
Yeah.
Just a PSA. I don't know.
I think it's fun.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. It's another mind-bending masterpiece from Christopher Nolan.
Cinema god, Christopher.
Cinema god.
Well, from one cinema god to another, we've got David Lynch's Dune.
David Lynch's Dune. Dune. 1984. George Orwell.
Yeah.
Frank Herbert. 1960 something.
70. I don't know. When was Dune published?
When was Dune published? 65.
Cool. What is your experience with Dune?
Let me tell you that.
Dune is a concept. Dune, specifically, this film.
This film, yeah. Dune is a concept, not super familiar with it. I was aware of the books, had not read them, still have not. I've tried a couple of times, but I don't know. I know it's really good. I'll get into it eventually. I'll read it eventually. Like I say, I'll do a lot of things eventually.
Yeah.
This movie, however, I had always been aware of the film as kind of David Lynch's like failure, I guess. His project he made when he had a lot of heat in Hollywood, and the kind of thing that perhaps because of its failure led him to create movies that were maybe more personal, or and I don't know if that's exactly the right narrative, or if that's just convenient kind of through line there, but it certainly seems that way.
Yeah.
That after this, making Blue Velvet, going from but let's talk about. Do you want to talk about David Lynch first, or do you want to talk about the kind of the how they got this movie off the ground, and then talk about David Lynch before we talk about the movie? What do you think? So I do think we have to have a sidebar, a little a Lynch luncheon, if you will.
Lynch luncheon.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe we can call the episode Lynch luncheon.
Yeah, maybe.
We don't have to. David Lynch filmography ranking. We're going to do a mini David Lynch filmography ranking. It'll be very fast, I promise.
When?
Right now.
Oh.
Dune. I watched the theatrical version. I assume you did as well.
Yeah, I think so.
There is an extended version they put out on DVD that he was not involved with. That is also, I think, like a TV version that he took his name off of. So it's Alan Smithy, right? There's also a 3-hour fan edit. Have you heard about that?
No.
It's called the Spice Diver fan edit.
That's funny.
Spice Diver is the guy who made it.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's very good. I did not have 3 hours of attention for that. I guess basically like Eraserhead, gets David Lynch, the Elephant Man, through Mel Brooks, right, and his production company. The Elephant Man is a huge critical and commercial success.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest of his career in terms of like Oscar nominations and sort of general respectability, maybe. Or I don't think it's the movie that most people have seen anymore, especially. But and it's one I really would need to rewatch. I've only seen it once. It is a wonderful movie.
It's very good.
Yeah, it's very good.
I love The Elephant Man.
Yeah, eight Oscar noms, and it led to the creation of the Best Makeup Award.
There you go.
Yeah, so
well
there
earned.
you go.
Yeah, he was flying high.
He was.
He was offered freaking Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, which I'm sure would have been interesting, but I think, the number of times he's told that story where he's like, that was George's movie, where he's like, there's no...
His Ewoks would have been just like weird fleshy creatures, just...
I don't know. Or no, I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know what he would have done. We could only speculate. So I think originally, so they were planning on making a Dune movie like from the early 70s. Arthur P. Jacobs, the producer of Planet of the Apes, optioned the film in the early 70s. At one point, David Lean was attached, which would have been, I mean, I feel like, I don't know what the story there is, but I assume they were like, well, he made Lawrence of Arabia, so
there's a lot of sand
in that movie. Yeah,
you could do sandy epics.
Then of course the French got hold of the rights. So before we talk about our friend David Lynch, we're of course going to talk about our other friend, Alejandro Jodorowsky. Yes, I completely forgot about him. Can't forget about him.
There's a documentary called Jodorowsky's Dune, which details in great detail. It's like an oral history of this unmade movie when he was tapped to make it. And I think it's pretty interesting. It's a fun watch. Like, he's a very charismatic person. You get a sense of his, like...
he's crazy.
Yeah, you get a sense of his grand vision, which was entirely too grand to ever get off the ground.
Yeah.
But then, like, he employed in some of his designs, like, he got H.R. Geiger to kind of design the, like, Harkonnen stuff.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he went on
Dan
to...
O'Bannon. Pink Floyd.
Yeah, right.
Jean Giraud, or maybe, I don't know how to say his name, but Mobius, the French artist, right? Potential actors, Salvador Dali, Orson Welles, Mick Jagger, of course, Brontis Jodorowsky, who's in a lot of his movies. But
Salvador Dali as the grand emperor of the universe,
who demanded $100,000 per hour. And they said, okay, we'll shoot you for 1 hour. He wouldn't compromise on many aspects of the production, including wanting a runtime of 10 to 14 hours, which is great. Like, why not? They should have said, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I don't care how much it costs. But it fell through. Obviously, very influential failed project. A lot of that team, I think, as you were about to say, went on to work on Alien, right? Like Giger and Dan O'Bannon and a bunch of other concept artists and so on. A lot of that stuff, that kind of crew, I guess, of intellectuals migrated over to that project. And then he and Mobius recycled, I think, a lot of those concepts for the graphic novel series, the Incal, which I have not read, but I like to look at sometimes. It's pretty cool.
I've read the first one.
Yeah, is it any good?
Yeah. It's cool. It's like it's a trippy psychedelic space odyssey in graphic novel form.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. That there's a part of Jodorowsky's Dune that is kind of legendarily bad, right? Where he's like to make a movie I have to rape. I'm doing his. Of course he's from Kazakhstan. He's like, I was raping Frank Herbert, but with love,
right?
Yeah, and I mean, I
think
he was criticized for that. Yeah.
Famously throughout history misuses that term.
Yes, I believe so, including saying that he did sexually assault one of the actors in El Topo in an unsimulated sex scene.
Yeah,
that he then had to walk back.
Yes.
And these very like passionate, like stupid, ignorant, and harmful things that he said over the years to build up his kind of persona, his character, and then near the end of his life being like, no, I exacerbate. Yeah, of course he is Boran. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's a pretty rich word to use for someone who is allegedly a rapist. So, but obviously, an interesting filmmaker.
Yeah.
You've seen most of Jodorowsky's movies, right? Or
no, I don't know about most. What have I seen? I've seen El Topo, Holy Mountain, Santa Sangre.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
And I think that's
Actually,
it.
I haven't seen Santa Sangre.
Santa Sangre is fun.
I know.
Yeah.
I think for me, Holy Mountain is the one. Like, I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's probably my favorite as well.
I really like that movie. That's a good movie to do some spice and sit back and...
The spice melange.
Yeah. Well, yeah. One thing that you and I agree, the spice must flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. We both agree on that. Yeah.
The spice is the worm. The worm is the spice.
That's so true. I've been saying that. Everyone's been saying that.
If you walk without rhythm, you won't attract the worm.
Fatboy Slim said that. Yeah.
They got it from this movie.
I think it's the other way around. Dino De Laurentiis got the rights in 1976, and they tried to make it with Ridley Scott, and then that fell through.
Superstar film producer from the De Laurentiis group.
I know.
This movie has De Laurentiis all over it.
Raffaella De Laurentiis. Yeah. Gianna De Laurentiis, the cooking. Their daughter is the cooking show lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she really?
Yeah, my mom really likes her. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Simply.
Yeah.
Well, I just didn't know that they'd permeated all aspects of the industry like this.
Oh yeah, cooking shows, David Lynch movies. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, and then his version plagued with problems, budget problems, and fucking bunch of junk. But a really good cast, including a lot of his actors from Twin Peaks and other projects that he would reuse, right? For a lot of them for the first time in this movie, right?
Yeah, kind of hilarious to see, like Dean Stockwell as Dr. Wellington Huey. You know, it's kind of funny. Gordon Cole as a spice miner.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that is a great cameo. What does he say? But sire, we can't leave all this spice. So this cast for Lynch, obviously, where he first works with Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah.
A fruitful relationship that really is like, because Kyle MacLachlan isn't bad in this movie, right? But I don't know. What do you think? Is he? I guess Paul Atreides is kind of a non-entity in a way, right? He's kind of a cipher character, is he not? I haven't read the book. Does he have a lot of personality really in the novel? Or
I think he has more personality. Like,
yeah,
So I would argue that, like, this movie, a lot of the characters kind of come across as non-entities because it's not like, I think, spoilers, what they did with Denis' version and just splitting into 2 movies, I think is extremely helpful.
Well, yeah.
Unlike
this I think was supposed to be a 3-hour movie at least.
Yeah. Like, I think, what they did with Mockingjay was bad.
Yeah.
Like, I think Dune is a book that warrants being split up into at least 2, because then you just get like a lot of characters' internal monologues as voiceover.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Like, and I know that is some sort of part of the book. Like, there are asides I have seen, right, where the characters will.
But you can just do that in a book.
Yeah,
like you can just
in a movie. A lot of the time, it feels like one of our high school movies. Our magnum opus, I Crashed Into a Corpse, that is very difficult to understand. So anytime we, instead of like making the movie good or like, or like structuring it or whatever,
showing, not telling,
we would just have some voiceover being like, these are my dreams.
Yeah.
Or like whatever else it is, I'm late for the meeting. And so sometimes I like some of the asides, but a lot of the times it felt like the worst one, I think, is the Baron Harkonnen introduction, where with the kind of somewhat controversial scene. We'll talk about that. Well, let's talk about it now. Where he's getting his boils all sucked out. And
yes.
He's kind of a evil, fat, floating gay guy who preys on the young boy and rips out his heart plug. And it's very rapey and yucky and kind of homophobic and weird. And then the voiceover is, "This is what I'll do to those are house Atreides."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, no shit. Like,
I'd argue that like many of them are kind of come across as hokey and kind of funny. It's hard to do a voiceover internal monologue that doesn't sound a bit stiff.
Yeah,
and
like
it's funny,
purely expository.
So many of them do it. You'd think like maybe this will just be Paul because he's the main character, or like
no, it's
one of the Bene Gesserits because they're telepathic. But yeah, it's like everyone has like a moment where they just have like an internal monologue aside. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, Bene Gesserit. Thank you, everybody.
But I like, one of the things I do like about this movie, because I think like, for as much hate as it's gotten, especially, at the time of release, it was like one of the worst movies of the year.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of like good stuff and fun to be had with this film.
Yeah.
Like that, the whole depiction, this is one of the nastiest depictions of the Harkonnens in any adaptation of Dune, which really is just the Denis movie, and then the sci-fi miniseries.
Yeah, we should talk about that briefly as well.
But I liked that he was like, had just gross boils. And the design, a lot of the production design in this movie is really
it's incredible.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Atreides, they almost wear kind of like, Italian fascist uniforms, and then the Harkonnens are like these cyberpunk freaks.
Yeah, orange hair.
Yeah, Glossu Raban, like one of the Baron's nephews, during that scene while he's getting his boils worked on, he has like a little juice box with a creature in it.
Yeah, they squish it.
Smash the creature and then drink the juice.
That's like one of the little creatures Jabba eats. in the Star Wars. Yeah.
And these are all just kind of like they feel like little Lynch idiosyncrasies. You know what I mean? They're not in the books or anything.
Okay, so you're totally right. The things that it has going for it, the production design, there's tons of shit in the movie. It's like it looks expensive. Not all the time. Sometimes the hallways where they're connecting little things, they look kind of cheap sets or whatever. As it does.
Or some of the bigger special effects, like the worm riding and whatnot.
Yeah, the worm riding. Yeah.
There's that great shot of Kyle MacLachlan and Stilgar on top of the worm, and they kind of like look at each other lovingly. It's really funny.
Like that. The other thing it has going for it is every now and again there's like a little weird Lynchian kind of moment.
Yes.
Like the introduction of Baron Harkonnen, the scene that I know, several critics, I think Robin Wood and other critics criticize it for being like homophobic, and I understand that evil gay villains, right, and so on.
Yeah.
And
scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Me too. Yeah.
I remember watching this because I had heard of Dune as an entity a lot, like growing up, but had never seen it. And then one day, like Space was showing it. They were also showing the sci-fi series, which I watched on Space. But then I was like, oh, what's this like old Dune version? And I just watched the scene that introduced the Harkonnens, and I turned it off. I was like, this is terrifying.
It's very
like,
disturbing.
The heart plug, like it was so upsetting.
It's super creepy. Yeah.
And then he kind of bathes in like oil dripping from the ceiling, like
which of course is part of in the Villeneuve version. We're gonna do the Lights Camera Jackson pronunciation. He's bathing in Stellan Skarsgård rises out of the whatever oil bath, and you're like, okay, he's evil, I get it. But he doesn't rip any heart plugs,
And the guy who he rips the heart plug out. You could tell he's so scared. He's like putting these flowers in containers, and he's just shaking and stuff. It's
creepy.
It's super creepy.
It's super creepy.
And like the kind of like lime green design of the walls, and then all the Harkonnens, especially on Getty Prime, like their home planet, they're all like kind of sweaty, and they're slick with sweat. It's gross.
Yeah. Well, of course and I think this is really the difference between the Denis Villeneuve movies and these ones. I think there's some strong imagery in his films, but there's nothing that is equal to the shirtless Sting coming out of the steam bath.
Oh my God!
Every time they cut to Sting, especially in the early scenes, he's like this.
Yeah.
I'm
Which
sorry.
I kind of like.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm doing a giant like Joker smile.
Yeah.
He looks like Malcolm McDowell in Clockwork Orange, where he's like,
great.
I'm cured, all right. You know, he's like, yeah. It's very. I mean, I can see it be, I guess, laughable in some sense, but I think it. I don't know. It kind of works. Like they're just communicating that they're evil.
Yeah. This movie,
it's a planet full of evil people.
Like, again, not to spoil it, I think the more recent version works as like an adaptation of Dune far better.
Sure.
But this movie has so much more character.
Oh yeah. Like it's packed to the gills with junk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other Lynchian stuff I loved.
Yeah.
Gurney Halleck running into battle holding a pug.
Yes. Yeah, I do like that the pugs exist.
In the year 10,000.
Where was I reading it? It was someone maybe it was on Letterboxd. They were like, it's perfect that the like pugs are because the pugs have been bred like the Atreides have been bred to be.
Yeah, it's thematic.
Yeah.
So is it even worth giving like a small synopsis of Dune? It's such a hard fucking like book to.
I could do it very easily. The spice must flow.
Okay.
Fear is the mind killer.
Yes.
Arrakis. Mm-hmm. Caladan.
Yeah.
Getty Prime.
Yep.
Those are the planets. Oh, we should just play the Virginia Madsen intro. Know this, then it is the year blah blah blah.
So a young
fucking
Virginia
lecture right at the beginning.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Her face fades out and then comes back, and
it's
like, wait,
one more thing. Yeah,
I have more.
I forgot. There's more.
A criminally underused Virginia Madsen, but Princess Irulan is kind of like the narrator of the books because each chapter opens with like an epigraph from like a grand history of the Landsraad, or whatever.
Yes.
So in the future, this is never really explained in any of the adaptations.
Pay attention,
but
because there will be a test later, by the way.
at some point, there was a big war. I think it was called the Butlerian Jihad. And similar to the Matrix, computers kind of turn on humans. So
Yes.
humans kind of go back
Yes.
to, like, you know, not trusting computers. But then they have, you know, super smart human computers called mentats. Whatever. Everything's very steampunk. They fight with swords. And they kind of have, like, a Game of Thrones, like, royal houses set up for different planets.
Yes.
There's one planet called Arrakis where is the only home of the spice melange, which allows the Spacing Guild to fold space, essentially traveling through wormholes.
Yes.
So it's very valuable, and
It's the
it's
most valuable substance in the universe. Right?
next to my cum.
Yeah.
And
Okay. All right. Goofy.
And then the Harkonnens were running it, but then there's this other family called the Atreides, and they're gaining popularity in the universe, and the Grand Emperor doesn't like that, so he makes them go take care of the planet. He makes them stewards of Arrakis, but it's a betrayal, and the Harkonnens come back, try to kill everyone, but they don't kill the Duke's son, Kyle MacLachlan, and his
Kale.
mom.
Yeah.
And then he comes back, you know, to overthrow the evil.
Yeah. Yeah, he leads the Fremen revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Fremen are the desert people.
Yes.
The free men.
Yes. Which is how I pronounced it until I watched a film adaptation of it.
Yes. Yes. That I think was pretty good.
Thank
right?
you.
There's something else as well. Let me just quickly some of the characters very quickly.
Yeah.
Kyle MacLachlan, of course, as you said, only the ones who matter. Brad Dourif, right? In
Great.
his first, because he shows up in Blue Velvet as well as Peter de Vries, I guess.
Yes, who is the Harkonnen mentat.
Yeah, yeah, and they're in the Denis one. They're the ones where their eyes roll back and they,
Yeah.
they're the supercomputer brain people, right?
The what is he? He's got the wine stains the lips. The like lips.
Yeah. yeah. Fucking. Some of that stuff is great.
Yeah.
Like some of the weird shit they repeat to themselves to like psych themselves up feels very like a perfect kind of sci-fi a cult Scientology cult sort of.
No, it sounds good.
Weird thing.
It's a well thought out universe. It's just quite
yeah.
deep. Like we didn't even mention the fucking Bene Gesserit.
Yeah, so they're like whatever the witches, right?
Yeah, there's like a sisterhood
The
of
Bene
witches
Gesserit witch must leave.
who've used spice or like the water of life, which is the bile of a sandworm.
Those water of life kind of flashes are also sort of feel like a Lynchian thing. Not
Very.
specifically that image itself, but the way they sort of fade in and out or crossfade. You know? Yeah. And yeah, there's just anytime there's a little bit of slow-mo as well, it kind of feels like his sort of thing. Jose Ferrer, whose son Mel Ferrer would be Albert in Twin Peaks.
Yes,
very
and
very important.
The guy in RoboCop.
And the guy in RoboCop, yes. Is Padishah Emperor Saddam Hussein the Fourth. Linda Hunt is a very small role, I guess, as Shadowed Mapes. I don't fucking know. Freddie Jones is the other mentat. Yeah, blah blah blah. Richard Jordan Duncan. Duncan Idaho doesn't really pop as much in this one, does he? They don't really give him as much to do.
No, again, it's a lot of it's condensed into, and I feel like they do a better job with the first half of the book. Like
Right.
I feel like that stuff is set up okay it's still pretty rushed. But yeah, Duncan Idaho is like a pretty small character in the books as well. He comes back. Spoiler alert: he's like cloned but like a ghost clone or something. It's really weird.
I can't wait. Cool. Everett McGill is Stilgar, leader of the Fremen.
Yes.
Of course, working with David Lynch in Twin Peaks and in other things as well. Jack Nance from Eraserhead.
Lynch regular.
He's there. He's one of the.
He's just a
Harkonnen guys.
Harkonnen bad boy.
Jurgen Prochnow. Or no, you know what? Jurgen Prochnow plays the original Woodman in the Twin Peaks Firewalk with Me. He has like he has no lines. He's just sitting in the Red Room at one point.
Can't believe you named that guy before Patrick Stewart, who plays
he's coming up. Patrick Stewart.
Gurney
Halleck.
Halleck.
Yeah.
who you see him at the beginning with his balisette, which is
Yeah.
really because in the book they're always talking about how he sings beautifully and makes music with his balisette.
Well, we're going to hear Josh Brolin do it in the Dune 2, apparently.
That's awesome.
Because he's been writing all of these poems for... Did you read the poem he wrote for Timothée Chalamet?
No.
Oh, my God. I don't think it was meant to be leaked. I think it's private. There's one for Florence Pugh as well, and it's like,
Whoa.
dude, like... I think these are way too personal to share on IndieWire or whatever, you know what I mean?
That's funny.
Sting is Fade Rotha, who, of course, is played by Elvis in the new one. Sting, unfortunately, did not become a David Lynch regular.
No.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, they parted ways.
He's the man from another place, or he's Frank Booth.
He's the cowboy in Mulholland Drive.
Yeah, if you see me again. Dean Stockwell, he's a character. He's back. Max von Sydow, I don't think he's in any other David Lynch movies. But this is something I didn't know.
He's huge.
He is huge, yeah. The actress who plays Aaliyah, which is Paul's younger sister, who's a Bene Gesserit advanced witch girl, is Alicia Witt. And this was her first movie. And she was in a lot of Lynch projects. In the original Twin Peaks as one of the sisters of... what's her face's character? Who cares? And then and comes back in Twin Peaks season 3 as well in a very upsetting role as the same sister, but who's like all fucked up now. It's awful. One of the more upsetting scenes in that series. So yeah, it's a lot of Lynch players are here. Mm-hmm. Some of the greats,
Music composed by Toto.
Yeah.
Yes, that Toto.
One of the, but it says song by Brian Eno as well, right?
Right.
What song is his? Is it the one at the end?
Maybe it's the end credits song.
Maybe. But yeah, there's a big like guitar riff whenever anything happens. Like, I don't know how it goes. We'll drop it in here somewhere,
So it's a crazy movie. There's like a lot of crazy disparate ingredients.
Yeah, I understand why it has a bad reputation. Like, I haven't read the book like you have, but I imagine it's a compromised adaptation, certainly.
It is, but there's still like it's a blast to watch.
I think and I think I had severely underrated it when I was like, I don't know, 24 or something. But now that I'm a wise 33-year-old man,
it's not boring.
No, there's a bunch of junk on the screen, and it's weird, and it's it feels very dated in a lot of ways, but in a way that makes it kind of charming. I know I keep saying dated. I don't want to say that, but you know what I mean. Like, so here's my little joke about David Lynch filmography ranking. Okay. Here's the official David Lynch filmography ranking.
This is a ranking and not a tier list?
This is the tier list, sorry.
Okay.
This is the official David Lynch filmography tier list. Okay, S tier. All of his movies are in the S tier.
Okay.
This is why we're not actually going to do it.
Okay.
And not just for the interest of time. All of the movies are in the S tier. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Except for Dune.
Okay.
Dune is not in the S tier.
Yes.
Dune is in the B tier.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the A tier. It's just in the A tier, it's just ominous whooshing sounds from Twin Peaks.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
a good little bit.
The B tier, Dune.
Yeah.
Because it is obviously, in some ways, a failure, but by his standards.
Yeah.
Not necessarily by the standards of film itself.
No, and people talk about it being like a huge box office failure. It was a box office failure, but not like that big of one. You know what I mean? Like, it almost recouped its production budget. It probably didn't recoup its advertising budget, which I imagine was huge. And they were, it didn't recoup its pride because they were like banking on it starting a franchise. They wanted it to be the Star Wars for adults. And
then instead, he abandoned his script for the next Dune movie and made a little something called Blue Velvet.
Yeah, and the world's better for it.
And the world is better for it.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm just looking now, seeing if I made any mistakes. I did not. All these movies are great. I've seen all of his movies. I've seen them all a number of times. Seen the Straight Story only once. It's really good. That's the one that gets lost in the shuffle.
That's the one I haven't seen.
Everybody got to see that. That's one of his best movies. It's his G-rated movie, his Disney movie.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It is.
That's what I hear.
It's very good.
Yeah.
It's just really beautiful. If I really had to tell you what like my favorite David Lynch thing is, I may have said this before, but if I can represent,
Can I guess?
yeah, well, you know what it is.
Oh, Twin Peaks: The Return.
Well, not just that though. If I can cheat and put Twin Peaks as a whole,
I
including
don't like that.
the show, the movie, and the reboot series.
I don't like that.
Okay, so if I can't do that because Taskmaster Alex is saying, "Oh, no, poo-poo, I poo-poo on your idea," okay, fine, fuck you. I'll just say Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me.
Okay.
Because I think even divorced from the show itself, it really is the one that I have come back to the most.
I should rewatch that.
The first time I saw that movie, I watched the DVD. I was like all alone, lights off. Like I was still a teenager. I just finished the show. I found it to be one of the scariest movies ever made. I was terrified by it. I was absolutely terrified by it. And I maybe don't think that now, but I think it is the kind of the pinnacle of his work in a lot of ways. But of course, and why I think it's okay to cheat a little bit. You can watch it. You can watch End of Evangelion without watching the show. But should you? Maybe not. I think Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me is much richer if you have seen the show and then follow it up with the new series. When I was like a teenager, I think Wild at Heart was my favorite, and that's kind of funny because that's the one that has a lot of surface pleasures, sex, violence, and it's the Tarantino one, right?
Yeah, I can see an
so
argument
much so that it seems like he just stole it. he just took so much from it. I feel. I don't know if he's on record for that, but I know he did really like David Lynch and did not like Fire Walk with Me when it came out. Yeah, famously.
I could see an argument for putting like Wild at Heart in like A tier versus S, but to each their own.
There's something about that where it's like I feel it's kind of funny. I feel like the same way about like Big Lebowski, where there's just something about it that like I watched it so much when I was a teenager, and then like didn't revisit it for years, and then you go back and look at it and you're like, this is just as good as I thought it was when I was a kid. Yeah, it's just that it's also like it's probably one of his more immature movies, and I is kind of, I think, dwarfed by something like Fire Walk with Me, which is an extremely like spiritual movie, I think. Whereas Wild at Heart is like kind of goofy.
Yes. Yeah. It is.
And I think Lost Highway and Mulholland Drive kind of a similar sort of thing, where Lost Highway is sort of like a bit of a goofier, pulpier version of a lot of the ideas that Mulholland Drive maybe then later perfected. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
No, totally. I think Lost Highway and Mulholland Drive are a great pairing. But you can definitely see, that saying Lost Highway walked so Mulholland Drive could run.
Sure.
Like I can definitely see the progression of the kind of like idea and what he was doing.
And then all of those ideas, I again, like, if say use the word perfected in something like Mulholland Drive, then further abstracted down the rabbit hole as far as they could go.
Literal rabbit hole.
Literally holes and holes within holes.
Of rabbits.
One of the holes leads to rabbits. It's true. And pushed as far as you could absolutely go with even the medium itself with Inland Empire.
Yes.
Which, is a movie that I think is amazing, but is also not one I necessarily revisit a lot because I find it to be like a difficult and unpleasant movie to watch. But it's great. I mean, it's insane.
I like it a lot too. I think Mulholland Drive is my favorite. We could have a whole separate episode talking about Lynch for forever.
Yeah, but we don't have to now because we just did it. See, we did it. I told you it'd be short. I mean, maybe it's not that short.
We gotta go do a deeper dive. We gotta find a way to fashion a Lynch franchise.
Twin Peaks. We're gonna watch all of Twin Peaks. Oh, and then if you want to include his shorts,
Yeah.
that can be in the B tier. They're fine.
Yeah, Mulholland Drive is amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
that's one of my favorite movies. That's one of my top 4 on Letterboxd.
Oh, there you go.
I love that movie. And unlike Inland Empire, I could watch that movie like all the time. It's such a comfort watch for me, which is strange because it's kind of unsettling in its own way.
It's a very
but I like the
upsetting
way
movie.
It's unsettling.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's funny too.
It's incredibly entertaining film.
Yeah.
And when people watch it, I tell them don't worry about making like sense of it, quote unquote. Just how does it make you feel? And like, how are you reacting to what's on the screen right now?
Well, yeah, the famous conversation we'd have with friend of the pod, enemy of the pod, Sam Edwards.
Don't even get me started.
Are we allowed to say his full name?
Sure.
Whatever. Fuck him.
Doxed.
Yeah, doxed. Who didn't like the movie, but then when we talked about it, we're like trying to convince him like people do like it, not just pretending to like it.
Yeah, I had such a strong. So I had watched it when I was like younger, but all I really remembered was the sexy scenes, and then I watched it in theaters for, let's call it like my first time, like as a young adult.
Yeah.
And the emotional impact it had on me was incredible. It elicited such a specific feeling in me. You know how like in German they have words for very specific things, like Schadenfreude.
Sure.
I was like, I've had this feeling where you wake up from a dream where you're with like someone you're in love with or an ex you had, or just like anyone who's not in your life anymore, and it's kind of like beautiful, and then you wake up and you're like,
alone
oh
in
no,
your
that that person is gone. That person
it's just
is
a jerk off
gone.
Fantasy.
Yeah, sure. Well, not to get crass about it, but yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and that's why the movie is so brilliant, because it's like who hasn't experienced that?
Totally. And
who can't relate to that in one way or
but
another?
normally you feel that feeling in the morning when you wake up, and to experience it like walking out of a movie theater in the early evening, I was like, I never thought I would feel this way like at this time. It was just it was wonderful.
Got to go to bed.
And then
got to capture some of that magic.
Yeah, totally.
Some of that Hollywood magic.
And that's another thing. It's also like a really great, like, it's a quote unquote poison love letter to Hollywood or something like that.
Yes.
And it works so well as that too. There's like, there's a guy who like has a 5-hour video on YouTube explaining what Twin Peaks is about.
Yeah. There's lots of those guys.
He did one on Mulholland Drive too, where he's kind of linking it to, because there is like, sound bites where it's kind of clear that David Lynch knew about some of the exploitative practices going on in Hollywood.
Well, I mean, I do think it was a pretty open secret.
Yeah. And, he's kind of explaining how Mulholland Drive is like a big metaphor for it and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, like there's definitely elements of that in it, but like just appreciate it as this big kind of like collage of just, themes and feelings that like were interesting to him. And like, the subversion of like the cowboy as like hero to like villainous henchman for shady like mob film producers, and the director as cuck, literally and figuratively, and
the hot young director.
Yeah, it's the hitman as bumbling like fool instead of like cool, calm, collected Michael Fassbender type. Like it's fuck. Now you got me going. I love Mulholland Drive.
I mean, now I know I've asked you this probably every day of your entire life. You haven't seen Twin Peaks season 3, right?
Yes, I have.
Oh, fuck. I'm a fucking idiot. I'm sorry.
I own it.
I'm so sorry. This is my problem. I just keep asking people that, and then it's like, usually they haven't, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta see it. And then fuck. And then I fuck up. I'm so sorry. Okay, because
it's okay.
Because there so many of those great ideas are carried on in that series as well.
I love The Return.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
It's just a different beast.
No, and it's unwieldy, right?
Yeah.
Like it's watching Mulholland Drive for the first time on a VHS when Blockbuster started selling them off, right? I was like probably 15 or something. I had heard about, because of the IMDb forums, which are like message boards, you know, what are the most disturbing scenes, and people would be like, oh, the Winky's diner scene.
Yeah.
And so by the time I get there, I'm like, oh, this is like a big scene, you know.
Yeah.
And I am watching it, you know, in my room, lying on my bed, and then I'm like, I start to get really anxious, like when they're walking
Oh my
in
God.
the diner. And it's funny, like, you know, the movies don't really have this effect. I mean, I was a kid, basically, right? Movies don't necessarily have this effect anymore, but I was probably younger than 15. Anyway, I'm like standing up now, watching the TV, and I'm like, have my remote in my hand, and I'm like, I kind of don't want to see what's behind the diner.
Yeah.
And I'm like about to pause it, you know, and then the man, and I'm like, oh, it's just a dirty man. Like, oh, that's all right. But the absolute, like, even before really whatever, you know, understanding the movie or even watching it in the proper aspect ratio, for example, understanding what movies are about, or the kind of Onera quality of like Lynch films or anything. You know what I'm saying is, even as a kid, you know, you watch a scene like that, and you're like, I am so on edge.
Yeah.
This is
Expertly
such a
done.
nightmare. Yeah, that I'm now standing up next to my TV, ready to stop it, because I am like so freaked out by what could possibly be behind the diner.
Yeah. It scared the shit out of me as an adult in theaters. Like, it's one of the best jump scares in any movie.
Yeah.
And it's so earned. Yeah.
You know, this is dirty old lady.
It's so good. The floating camera that just makes you feel uneasy and stuff.
God.
It's,
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick Fischler, come on the pod.
And it just, you know, because then the movie, it lulls you into a sense of safety with like the cuteness of some of the stories, like the cuck director or the budding romance between Naomi Watts and Laura Herring. And it's like, you know, don't forget, like, at any moment, like, the rug is going to be pulled out from under you, and it is.
Dream within a dream.
Inception.
Yeah. Yeah. Inception is so cool, bro. You know, and even watching Eraserhead, just the last time I watched it was this past summer in PEI, visiting my brother and sister-in-law and her family. My family came out there, and we were all hanging out with the baby, right? And my brother's like, you know, I think I gave them a month of Criterion Channel or something, and he's like, you know what? I'd really like to watch Eraserhead, like, now that I have a baby. And, you know, he's kind of joking, right? But we watched it, and I had this newborn baby, kind of a tree frog on my chest.
Yeah,
you know?
that's 4DX.
Watching it, yeah, it was, and I know I said this already, but it really was like a profoundly bizarre experience.
Yeah.
You know, the baby's just like, you know,
with its cold reptilian skin.
Yeah. Anyway, but you know, that's the uncle thing, right? I don't have to worry about any of that.
No.
No, it's great.
Barely, yeah.
I haven't seen this kid for almost a year now. He's not my problem. Just kidding. We love you, Murray. He's huge now. It's crazy. He's like crawling around and all that. It's nuts.
It's exponential, their growth.
It's creepy. Yeah, it's weird.
They're going to be a giant head in your living room before you know it while you're freaking out.
I'll stomp him like a little sperm. Yeah. Yeah, they're all good. Yeah, Lost Highway's good. Fuck, they're all so good. Yeah. Of course, the Lynch rep theater problem of going and watching his films in the theater and having the ironic laughter, the this movie is too much for me, I can't handle myself kind of laughter. Thankfully, the last time I did see a Lynch film in theaters was the 4K restoration of Inland Empire. And it was at the review where a lot of the laughter, chuckle fuck motherfuckers go who drive me crazy. Like I told you the story at the end of Eraserhead, some guy went, he made some dumb noise, and it's like, it just like killed the vibe. And I just wanted to go beat the shit out of it. I genuinely was like compelled to violence. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take much.
Clearly.
But I knew who it was. It's just this guy who just was like somebody dragged me here, and I'm here to see a dumb art movie. I'm a stupid piece of shit, and it's just like and people groaned. They were like, no, like because it was so perfect. The ending, it's like it's a midnight movie too, and it's like right when the vacuum sucks everything out, and then he goes, ha,
Gross.
fuck you. Fuck you. If you're listening, he's not.
He's not.
There's not a chance.
Decidedly not.
But if you know who that is,
dox him.
Yeah, dox him.
Send us at thefranchiseespod@gmail.com.
I'd like to give him a piece of my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I went to see Eraserhead at TIFF,
Yeah.
this is very different. When the Janus Films logo came up, someone in the crowd went, "Huh, J Anus," and I had a laugh. I'll admit.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
When it's before the movie, that's okay.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
I never...
There is a kind of film distributor, Anus Films, that has the Janus Films logo.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And they do like porn and stuff like that.
Oh.
Like, yeah. I think it's mostly gay porn.
Okay. Unfortunately, I think we got to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think we got to go.
But
Go see a movie ourselves.
we're going to be talking about Dune and all its variations really as we move forward with this franchise. This franchise, I think more than any franchise beforehand, is going to be a lot of comparing and contrasting.
Yes.
Like when talking about Denis Dune, we're inevitably going to talk about and
Claire
compare what
Denis Dune, right? The French filmmaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's set in Morocco.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with spice.
No, well, it's about colonialism, just like anything else.
True.
Yeah.
True.
No, you're right. It is really going to be we're going to be watching the same movie twice,
Yeah.
right? But very different interpretations visually. And whereas this film has a lot of stuff in it, we're going to watch a movie that has a lot less stuff in it. I mean, just like literally very minimalist sort of.
Well,
like he, Denis' thing is like he likes a big wide shot of like a bunch of like empty space, a bunch of stuff, and I don't know.
But he's
we'll
got
see.
some cool stuff too that I'm
he's got
excited
some
to
cool
talk
stuff.
about.
Yeah, he's got some. I thought the first Dune, I did enjoy it.
Me too.
But I still think the best part is the very beginning when it goes. I was like, because everyone in the theater was like, "Huh!"
That part rocked.
Yeah, that was cool.
But also on a similar vein, one of my favorite parts is when they show you Salusa Secundus, the planet where they train the Sardaukar.
Yeah.
And there's that weird guy like on top of a monolith going.
That was cool.
Yeah, because then that got memed and people are like me on boys' night or something.
Yeah,
and
raids and stuff. Yeah.
But anyway, like it's gonna be fun to compare. Like, oh, look at Denis, like. Third stage guild navigator versus the giant slug in a tank that floats out into space.
But is there going to be one in the second one, or is there only going to be? Are we going to have to wait till Dune Messiah comes out, which probably will happen, right? At this point,
I don't know.
I think Dune 2 is going to be a huge hit.
Me too. But anyway,
one last thing I very quickly want to say: for years, I had this like traumatic childhood memory, and I. Similar to the Mulholland Drive thing where I was like too scared to watch something. It was at a sleepover with my friend Ethan at my house. Rented a movie earlier in the day, and it was Dune. And I put it in, and we were watching it, I think with my parents, and there was an image in it at the beginning that I was so upset by that I started to cry, and I ran up to my room crying in front of my friend. And for years, I had thought it was David Lynch's Dune, and I thought it was the Guild Navigator.
Oh my God!
But it wasn't. It
was
wasn't.
the miniseries.
It was the miniseries.
What was it?
So I don't know why you would. Why would we be watching the first episode of like a 4.5-hour miniseries? Like it doesn't make any sense. But no, I actually, and I do kind of want to go and watch the miniseries. I might actually try to fit that in sometime this week. I guess chronologically, it would take place after this. This came out in 2000, right?
Yes.
It looks like a full motion video game. Like it's the effects are very strange. Like it's a real 2000s, late 90s 2000s sort of thing. But no, it's at the beginning. There's something where like someone's like face melts off into a skull or something. It's not really particularly scary.
I don't remember that.
But I just got so freaked out that I ran upstairs crying. So embarrassing. And then I remember Ethan came up and was like, it's okay. Like, we'll just watch something else.
It's just Dune, man.
And we ended up watching Ghostbusters, which is a movie I had seen many, many times. And also has probably way scarier effects in it and other stuff.
Right.
But I guess I was just more familiar with it. And so we watched that and had a great time. But it's just so embarrassing, like, running up the stairs crying like a little baby. Anyway, sorry.
The skeleton face in the beginning of the Mortal Kombat movie made me cry, and I had to turn it off.
Oh, okay.
So you're not alone.
So it's a podcast full of soft losers. What else is new?
So Sting's six-pack in this movie.
Yeah.
How many abdominal muscles out of 6 on Sting's six-pack would you give this film?
3.5 or 4.
Yeah, I'd give it 3.5, I think.
Yeah.
Now I've seen it a few times, and each time I watch it, I'm like kind of having like more and more fun. I'm like, this is hilarious. And like, yeah, some parts like look corny. Some decisions were just kind of poor, like the way they treated the shields, like the body shields in this movie as the big like cubic things. They turn you into Minecraft characters essentially. Like when they do Blade Battle, he looks like Minecraft Steve. Yeah,
you're right. That's a bad aesthetic choice. Yeah.
But there's a lot of fun to be had in this film.
I think it is. I think it is more fun approaching it as like, what would David Lynch have done, if he was given this amount of money for this ambitious, David Lynch's Star Wars, like David Lynch's Return of the, people are like, oh, I wonder what he would have done with Return of the Jedi. Well, like, here you go. It's like, this is pretty close to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
His one sellout moment, and he actually has a quote about that. I think approaching it as like, a sort of a curio in his long storied career of S-tier masterpieces and this one B-tier oddity. I think rather than looking at it as like a Dune adaptation, I don't know if you're a big Dune head, then maybe you'll be resistant to this movie's charms. I don't know.
I think we should still do a David Lynch tier list at some point, because there are some movies that I think I would give A. It would still be a very boring tier list. But
I'd love to do it. We'll do it. We're gonna do it. We'll do it with it.
But I think there's some A's in there.
I think those episodes are fun.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're fun to listen to and not a drag. I think we should do it with every director that I at least have seen all their films. You've only got a couple left, right?
For David?
Yeah.
No, just Straight Story.
Let's watch a Straight Story. We'll do it. All right. So here's a quote from the man himself. He doesn't always talk like this. He doesn't always talk like Gordon Cole, but
more often than not.
I started selling out on Dune. Looking back, it's no one's fault but my own. I probably shouldn't have done that picture, but I saw tons and tons of possibilities for things I loved, and this was the structure to do them in. There was so much room to create a world, but I got strong indications from Raffaella and Dino De Laurentiis of what kind of film they expected, and I knew I didn't have final cut. And he didn't. And they did. And they delivered the producer's movie. It's the only movie. There's no secret David Lynch version. It's the only version that he worked on and made and has his name on it. And it's written by him and it's directed by him. But the end product, I think, is very much a producer's film.
Yes.
More so than a David Lynch picture.
Feels like it.
And that's okay.
We'll see you next week for Dune Part 1.
Yes. Canadian excellence.
Follow us on the socials and tell your friends. And until then, we'll be folding space with our minds off of the spice melange.
Well, like I said at the top, one thing you and I can agree on, right? The spice must flow.
Arrakis back for myself. He who controls the spice controls the universe. And what Pita did not tell you is we have control of someone who is very close to DUPREE. This person, this traitor, will be worth more to us than 10 legions of Sardaukar!